I was born in Carthage, a city of merchants, sailors, and warriors. My people had tamed the seas, built an empire of trade and wealth, and stood defiant against those who sought to control the world. But in my time, there was one power that cast its shadow over all others: Rome. My father, Hannibal Barca, was a name spoken with both reverence and fear. He was the architect of Carthage's resurgence after our defeat in the First Punic War. Though Rome had taken Sicily from us, he refused to kneel. He led us across the sea into Iberia, where new lands and wealth awaited. I was but a child when he took me to an altar and made me swear an oath that would shape my destiny. "Swear to me," he said, "that you will never be a friend to Rome." I swore. With all the fire in my young heart, I swore that as long as I drew breath, I would fight against the tyranny of Rome. I did not know then how far that oath would take me. When my father fell in battle, my brother-in-law Hasdrubal took command, but his time too was brief. And so, while still a young man, the weight of Carthage's ambitions in Iberia fell upon my shoulders. I took up the sword and carried my father's legacy forward, forging alliances, securing Carthage's rule, and turning the armies of Iberia into the finest force the world had seen. But Rome was never far from my thoughts. They had stolen our lands, our pride, and they would not stop until Carthage itself lay in ruins. When they sent envoys demanding that I submit, I knew my path was set. War was coming, and I would not wait for it to reach our shores. I set my sights on Italy, on Rome itself. No Carthaginian army had ever dared to march upon the heart of our enemy. They thought us a people of the sea, bound by our ships and our trade. I would show them otherwise. With an army of warriors from Carthage, Numidia, Iberia, and Gaul, and a force of mighty war elephants, I set forth on a journey that would become legend. The Alps stood before us, a barrier of ice and death. My officers warned against it. My men feared it. But I knew that only by doing the impossible could we hope to triumph. The march through the Alps was like marching into the jaws of the gods. Bitter cold, treacherous paths, ambushes by savage mountain tribes. Each day was a battle for survival. The elements took more men from me than the enemy ever could. I watched strong warriors collapse from hunger and frostbite, their bodies lost to the unforgiving ice. The elephants, those mighty beasts, struggled with each step, their great forms weakened by the cruel mountain winds. But we endured. We reached the fertile lands of Italy as ghosts of our former selves, but we had done what Rome had thought impossible. And with that, we struck fear into the hearts of an empire. I met the Romans in battle, and time and again, I shattered them. At the Trebia, I lured them into the icy waters, where their strength and numbers meant nothing. At Lake Trasimene, I turned the land itself against them, trapping them in the fog and cutting them down before they even knew they were in battle. Then came Cannae. The might of Rome was gathered, an army greater than any I had faced before. They believed that sheer numbers would crush us. They were wrong. I let them come, let them push forward, let them believe they had the advantage. And then, with the precision of a master tactician, I encircled them. It was not a battle. It was slaughter. The ground was slick with Roman blood, their legions crumbling in despair as they realized their doom. Never before had Rome suffered such a loss. But Rome, for all its arrogance, was resilient. They refused to fall, no matter how many times I bested them. I called upon the rulers of Carthage to send me reinforcements, to send me the means to strike the final blow. But they hesitated. They did not see what I saw, that Rome could be broken. They wasted time, debated, and sent too little, too late. And Rome learned. They stopped meeting me in open battle, refused to engage me where I was strongest. They harassed my supply lines, eroded my alliances, bled me, not in the field, but in the waiting. And then, they turned the war to Africa, striking at Carthage itself, forcing me to return. I faced Scipio at Zama, and there, my time as Rome's greatest nightmare came to an end. His legions stood firm, his cavalry outmatched mine, and for the first time, I knew the taste of true defeat. Carthage surrendered. I was forced into exile, a man without a city, a warrior without a war. But even then, I didn't stop fighting. I traveled to distant lands, offering my counsel, seeking allies who would rise against Rome. I was a soldier of vengeance, carrying the embers of a war that had long since burned out. But Rome does not forget its enemies. They pursued me across the world, their wrath unyielding. When the end came, I chose not to give them the satisfaction of my capture. Instead, I took my own life, leaving behind nothing but my legend. And now, centuries have passed. My name is still spoken, my battles still studied. They call me a genius, a master of war, a strategist unmatched. They call me the man who brought Rome to its knees. But I was never just a conqueror. I was a son of Carthage, a man bound by an oath, a warrior who dared to challenge the might of an empire. And though I fell, I left behind a lesson that Rome and the world would never forget. That no power, no matter how great, is beyond the reach of those who dare to defy it.